Okay, so what I want you guys to do is I want everybody to close your eyes. Not because I don't want you to look at me, but I need you to picture this. We're going to picture way, way, way back in 1997. An 18-year-old decides to get on a plane and fly across the country. It's the dead of night when this person gets off the plane. They get shuffled onto a bus, being yelled at to keep their head down between their knees. You are not allowed to look. You have fear piercing through your whole body that you are almost shaking. You get off that bus, you go onto a formation of cement where you see these little feet telling you where to stand. From there, you go into a white room. And when I say white room, I mean there's nothing in this room except for you and the bag that came on your back. You're told to get rid of any contraband that should not be there, anything that you should not be allowed to bring in. This is things where you thought were necessities, a bottle of Tylenol, a stick of chewing gum, even underwear that wasn't your skin color. And you sit in that white room and you think, what the hell have I just done? You see, when I was 17 years old, I signed up for the United States military, and that white room was in Fort Jackson, South Carolina. I didn't know at that time what values were going to be instilled in me that I would carry on throughout my lifetime. If you guys still have your eyes closed, you can open them. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Lyn, and I have over 14 years of experience in human resources and talent acquisition. And my drive and my values do stem from my service from the United States Army, but also the support of my wonderful husband and my amazing children. The things that stick in my head from my military experience, besides fear, is my drill sergeants telling me hard work, dedication. Anytime someone says hard work, I echo back dedication. The other thing that you will for sure get out of your mind right away is when you have a drill sergeant running behind you telling you to get the word can't out of your vocabulary, because you can. Again, these are the values that have instilled in me throughout my career, not only my career, but also in my life and how I build my networks. So one of the first things is discipline. Discipline in recruiting. Like, you have to remember this. You have to stay consistent with what you do. And what I mean by this is maintaining a steady output and meeting your targets. Make sure that you're doing this by being effective in your time management. For me, a military style discipline improves my tasks because I still have that very scary Drill Sergeant Smith right behind me. I still have nightmares about this man. And then also structuring your approach when it comes to talent acquisition and recruiting. And what do I mean by this? What does this look like in action? Do a daily routine. For example, things that work for me is I actually have blocks of colors on my calendar. I color coordinate. I also block off Mondays and Fridays. I don't do phone screens on those days. I dedicate those days to doing administration type stuff or learning, growing with my network, or even thinking about things outside of the box, like what other things can I fix? Or maybe I have time blocked off for what mistakes have I seen happening lately and why are they happening and how do I fix them? Goal setting. Make sure that you're doing this for yourself along with your team. So what I do is I set goals each week. I set goals monthly as well. So for me as a recruiter, I set my goals of how many fills or how many hires I'm going to do. But the other goal that I also do is I also do a goal that I do each month on connecting to a deeper level to my hiring managers, getting to know them a little bit more, asking them more about their departments. I'm lucky enough that I'm able to go to my client and I can tour their facilities to better understand what I'm recruiting for and how I can set those goals. And then a follow-up system. So this follow-up system to me is I sit down and I say, what have I set for my goals this week? Have I met them? Why have I not met them? And what can I do to meet them next time? Now you might be saying, okay, dedication. How does this flow over? It also flows over into other things. People see this. So your actions, you're not just doing words, you're doing actions. So I think this is kind of fitting, especially following Josh with hockey. I'm going to tell you guys a little bit of a story here. So there was this skinny little hockey player that has been playing hockey since they're about 5, 6 years old. Fast forward to their high school career, they're still pretty skinny. They're a defense player. You normally don't see that. They try out for the high school team their sophomore year. Coach says, "You're not big enough, you'll get hurt. I'm cutting you." That little boy decides to spend that whole entire year being dedicated to his skill, improving it. Comes back junior year, still too small, cut again. Decides to go to a junior gold hockey, to at least have time on the ice to improve. Again, dedication, putting effort and time into their skill. Goes to his parents' senior year, says, "Hey, mom, dad, I'm going to try out for the high school team." And then them having to have that hard discussion of, you haven't made it the past 2 years. Being a senior, you're probably not going to make it. Parents waiting by the phone, waiting for that devastating call, just to hear that boy, happy as can be, saying, "I made it." That boy in that picture is my son. He made the high school team. That is his first game stepping onto the ice as a D-level hockey player at the University of Jamestown. I asked him one time, "Where did you get this drive? Where did you get this discipline, dedication?" He looked me straight in the eyes and said, "Mom, I get it from you. You lead by example." So again, like I said, your hiring managers, your candidates, your teammates, they're going to see this and they're going to want to come to you and ask you questions, and vice versa. You're going to want to go to them and ask them questions. All leads into integrity in recruiting. You have to build that trust. In order to build that trust, again, do what you say you're going to do. Make sure that you are fostering that relationship with your hiring managers, with your candidates, and then also with your network. Build your network. Make sure you have those trusted mentors that you can go to. Ask one-off questions. That way it leads right into the transparency. Being honest with your communication. Am I human? Do I mess up? Absolutely. I can tell you a time when I was at basic training that I had never, ever, shot a weapon, grenade, anything. And I love to blow things up. And it scared the crap out of my drill sergeants, 100%. But they were finally, very transparent with me on honest communication, letting me know, don't pull that pin unless you're ready to throw it. Again, follow up with action. Sometimes words mean nothing. And the other thing, ethical. Sometimes you don't hear that a lot, but make sure that you're being very ethical with your standards, being true to who you are. I actually know that there's somebody listening in on here, and he's always told me this, Steve Levy. I consider him a wonderful mentor and a colleague and friend. And whenever we speak, the last thing he always says to me is, remember who you are. So as a recruiter, remember who you are. Remember your ethics, remember your values, and make sure that your ethics and your values fit in with the people that you're working with. Again, put it into practice. Again, put your words into actions. Sometimes this one's a hard one. Honesty and feedback when it comes to candidates. Be candid, even with hiring managers. Sometimes you have to tell them what you're looking for isn't out there. Or when they keep saying, okay, I want to see what the next best thing is. Why? Are the 3 great candidates that I just found you that are unicorns not good enough? Why do you need to see more? We're going to lose candidates if you choose to keep going this route. I have another example of an internal candidate that kept applying for positions, and she came across a couple of my recs, and I saw she'd applied for 18 roles within the company in a 2-month span. That sent up red flags, like what's going on? Why is she applying for all of these? And I actually did a phone screen with her just to kind of see what was going on. And I sent her to a hiring manager because we had to treat her like everybody else. Again, fairness in the process. And I sat down with the hiring manager afterwards and I asked, how was it? And she said, I don't think anybody's ever told her, given her real feedback on how she interviews, and she's not qualified for these roles, but yet she kept applying for them. So I teamed up with my HRBP and said, look, we need to give her candid, honest feedback. She's going to keep applying for these jobs that she is not qualified for, and you don't know what you don't know. So how is she going to improve on any of these skills if she thinks she's the chaos queen, like she was stating, when she wasn't? She couldn't give examples. She didn't really work the system. And then also, again, you have to safeguard candidates' information and clients' information, so know when and where you can disclose things. Even if a candidate self-disclosed to you as a recruiter, doesn't mean that you have to disclose that to the hiring manager. That's something that if they choose to self-disclose during their interview process with the hiring manager, then so be it. The last part is adaptability in recruiting. Again, adaptability comes with all the words, flexibility, quick thinking, and continuous learning, a life learner. That's something that I truly am. But adapting to the changes in the market. We've seen the market like ups and downs, roller coaster. A good example of this is COVID. Like, how are you adapting? How are you being flexible? Quick thinking. How are you solving issues and challenges? I have an example for that as well that I'm sure all recruiters run into. It comes to the day before they're supposed to start and something hasn't cleared. What hasn't cleared, or the fact that you have a process and procedure that says they have to clear by 3 o'clock on Friday, and you're noticing people aren't clearing till 4 o'clock on Friday. You have to do quick thinking and figuring out, especially when it comes to a standstill. I had a position where the candidate did not clear. She cleared at 4:05 p.m. on a Friday. She was supposed to start on Monday, and they said no, she had to wait 2 more weeks for orientation. The problem with that is it put a standstill in manufacturing because they needed her to fill that position. It was going to make a standstill of all the production. So what was it worth waiting 2 weeks with someone that's already cleared, but they cleared an hour and 5 minutes after our cutoff? Or were we going to make an exception and then maybe come back and say, maybe we need to have the cutoff be at like 4 or 4:30 on Fridays versus the 3 o'clock. And then the continuous learning. Again, like I said, reach out, join networks, get mentors, not only in your industry, but others. I love learning from other people. I love going to people that are smarter than me. And the one thing that I was told by a very, very good high school teacher is education is something no one can take away from you. No experiences that you are able to grow with, anybody can take that. Nobody can take that away from you. So again, going through success stories. What is your success story of being adaptable in different situations? What are some of the challenges? Again, last minute changes, requirements, or keys to a position. We've had one where they're like, oh, nope, in order to pay them this amount, they have to have a 4-year degree. We have to change that. But the perfect candidate had an associate's degree. How are we going to work around that? What challenges that brings as a recruiter? Quickly adjusting and adapting to sourcing strategies. Again, a lot of times you have to think outside of the box. Sometimes it might be when you have a certain title, like what other titles could this be? What type of people am I looking for? And again, sometimes taking that title, I take the title out of it completely. I look at what the tasks and background and can this person do it? I mean, what a great world there would be is if we could put all of our resumes into a tool and say, what would a good job be for me? Like, give me 20 titles to be able to pick and choose from. And then results, successfully placing and connecting with your hiring managers and your candidates. Again, like I said, the keyword here is connecting. You need to build that relationship and make sure that you're hitting your deadlines. Again, for me, I leverage my military values in recruiting. but let's reflect on you. Not everybody has been in the military. Not everybody has the experience I have or the experience you have. So I encourage you as recruiters or HR professionals or any professional that you are, identify your core values. What are they, and do they match up with who you're working for or who you're working towards? Again, apply your personal values. What do you strive for? What are your goals? For me, it's these three humans in that picture that to get the word can't out of their vocabulary, to know when you fall down and you fail, you get back up and you keep going. And again, leverage your unique experience. For me, my unique experiences that I take with me is my team building, being in the forge and coming out at that 5-mile run, not thinking my body was physically going to be able to do it, having blisters on my feet, and then having Drill Sergeant Smith look me in the eye and tell me I started the forge as a civilian and I came out as a soldier. Again, I'm going to reference back to somebody that I hold very high in regards, and that's Steve Levy. He always tells me at the end of our conversations to remember who you are. So sometimes I just have to straighten my hat and remember exactly who I am. I'm a recruiter, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, and I'm an American soldier. Thank you guys so much. I've enjoyed my time with you. And if you can see that you can connect with me, I would absolutely love that. Thanks, everybody.